evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here for this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. Tonight's Town Board meeting is a Town Board voting meeting. The date is Wednesday, October 7th, 2015. At 6 p.m., the Town Board met an executive session with Police Chief Mike Cazzari to discuss a personnel matter. But before we get started, we'd like to have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. And would everybody please rise? Councilman Lupinacci, would you lead us this evening?
My pleasure.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Okay, once again, this is a Town Board voting meeting, and for the record, all members of the Town Board are present with us this evening, as is our Town Clerk, Ann Spofford. Ann, thank you for being here. And all the way down to my left is Greg Fulchetti, the Carmel Town Council. And in the audience, we have our Highway Superintendent, Mike Simoni, who's with us this evening also. So let's get started on the voting meeting agenda. The first item on the agenda, Town Board minutes of September 2nd, 9th, and 16th of 2015. I need a motion to accept those.
So moved.
So
Second.
moved by Councilman Lombardi, seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, second item agenda this evening is a resolution authorizing additions and deletions to the active list of the Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department. Councilman Schneider, would you read this one, please?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the addition of the following names to the active list of the Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department. John Joseph Piqueras. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lombardi and Lupinacci. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough? Yes. Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, resolution number 3 this evening is a resolution authorizing budget modifications, number 2015-04. Councilman Lombardi, would you read this?
Sure. Whereas Town Controller Marianne Maxwell has reviewed the 2015 year-to-date budget modifications/revisions for the period of July 1, 2015 through August 31st, 2015 with the Town Board, which are detailed and explained on the attached budget revision schedule that identified as 2015-4. Now therefore be resolved, Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby authorizes and ratifies the 2015 year-to-date budget modification revision for the period of July 1, 2015 through August 31st, 2015, as itemized on Schedule 2015-4, which is attached hereto, incorporated herein, and made part hereof. I offer the resolution as read.
Seconded.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Schneider. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Okay, resolution number 4 this evening is a resolution advertising for bids for Highway Department winter materials. Councilman Lupinacci, would you read this one?
Resolved that pursuant to the request of Michael Simoni, Town of Carmel Highway Superintendent, Town Clerk Ann Spofford is hereby authorized to advertise for bids for the purchase of the following items: sand, guardrail, winter mix. Be it further resolved that the Highway Superintendent is to furnish detailed specifications for the above to the Town Clerk to be used in conjunction with the town's general bid conditions and specifications. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, resolution number 5 is a resolution authorizing amendment to agreement with Severn Trent Environmental Services for sewer district and water operations and maintenance. Councilwoman McDonough, would you read this one?
Sure. Whereas Severn Trent Environmental Services, STES, is currently in contract with the Town of Carmel for the provision of operation and maintenance services in Carmel Water Districts number 2, 3, and 12, as well as Carmel Sewer Districts 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And whereas the reference contract, which expires December 31st, 2017, does not currently provide for utility markouts to be performed by STES. Whereas Town Engineer Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., has recommended that the current STES contract be amended for STES to perform utility markouts at a fixed hourly rate. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, acting as Commissioners of Carmel Water Districts number 2, 3, and 12, as well as Carmel Sewer Districts number 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, hereby authorizes the amendment of the existing contractual agreement with STES to include the performance of utility markouts at a cost of $100 per hour. And be further resolved, the town supervisor, Kenneth Schmidt, is hereby authorized to execute the aforementioned agreement and any and all other documentation to effectuate the aforesaid contractual amendment on the express terms authorized herein. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call vote?
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Does everybody understand what these markouts are, what they're for? It's, there's a law, it's called call before you dig. Before you excavate or dig anywhere around your property, you have to call, and utilities have to be marked out. So Severn Trent Environmental Services will now be doing the markouts. Currently, they're being done by a representative from our engineering department, and the water district operators will be doing that task going forward. So our engineering staff will remain in the building, working on engineering projects, and the water district operators will be doing the markouts for the town of Carmel. So I just want to explain to everybody what the markouts were for, and it's the call before you dig markouts. All right, next agenda item number 6 is a resolution proposal for the purchase and installation of a clarifier drive at Carmel Sewer District number 4 wastewater treatment plant. Councilman Schneider, would you read this one?
Whereas Town Engineer Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., and Carmel Sewer District Number 4 Operator, Severn Trent Environmental Services, STES, have advised the Town Board that one of the clarifier drives at the Carmel Sewer District Number 4 Wastewater Treatment Plant, WWTP, has failed, and whereas the requirement for replacement and/or repair of the failed clarifier drive is emergency in nature due to treatment processes required at the CSD Number 4 WWTP and regulatory requirements, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, acting as Commissioners of Carmel Sewer District Number 4, hereby accepts the proposal of Jadona LLC of Derby, Connecticut, and authorizes the purchase of the reference clarifier drive at a price not to exceed $10,961.79. And be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, acting as Commissioners of Carmel Sewer District Number 4, hereby accepts the proposal of STES for the installation of the reference clarifier drive at a cost not to exceed $2,900. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call vote?
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, the 7th and final resolution for this evening is a resolution authorizing a request for proposals of maintenance manager for the Lake Cassie Park District. Councilman Lombardi, would you read this one?
Sure. Resolved, the Town Board of Town of Carmel, acting as Commissioners of Lake Cassie Park District, hereby authorize Town Engineer Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., to request proposals for maintenance services at Lake Cassie Park District for calendar year 2016. I offer the resolution as read.
Second?
Okay, seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. Roll call vote?
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Yes.
Whoops.
Councilwoman McDonough? Councilman
Sorry.
Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, that completes the agenda items for this evening's Town Board voting meeting. At this time, I'm going to open up the floor to public comment on agenda items only at this time for 3 minutes, if anybody wants to come up and discuss any of the agenda items that we just voted on. Okay, there being none, we're going to move on to the open forum, new business portion of the meeting. If anybody would like to come up and discuss with the Town Board, town-related business, come on up at this time. Mike?
Good evening, Mike Borelli, taxpayer. Two things, and I know a lot of times it's not your fault, but when you're at home and you go to turn the television on at 7 o'clock, and you have that screen that says recyclables or something else, and you don't come on live, I have a suggestion that I really think you should take and start it next week, because this meeting lasted about 15 minutes. And when somebody sees that on, they say, well, maybe there's no meeting tonight, or maybe something's wrong. And by the time they get back to the TV, it's off. So what's so hard when it's 7 o'clock, you put something on your screen that says, starting soon, please be patient. It's a very simple solution. It frustrates the hell out of me, and I'm quite sure a lot of other people at home. At 7 o'clock, when the meeting starts, if you have an executive session, which I know you do all the time, and I understand that, you know, police chief, something like that tonight, it's understandable, but the people at home don't understand that.
It's a good idea.
Good suggestion.
The next thing is, I know you're discussing amongst yourselves this next 4 weeks before you go to the public hearing on your budget. And just a suggestion that I have. I understood last week from Mr. Fischetti that the fire department's not funded till March, and the numbers you place now in positions are really just to get your budget that by law has to be done by a date in November? Well,
20.
similar to what I said last week, is if you take $525,000 out of the line to the Mayapack Fire Department, that would bring the increase next year to 0. I don't remember the last time we had 0. And it's quite obvious that they don't need that $525,000 to operate. Or you can put, you had 3 cops originally in your budget, you took 1 out, and now you have 2 cops. Put the third cop back in your budget, and you're gonna have an increase of maybe 1%, 1.25%. Just 2 things that I hope you weigh very, very heavily, because a lot of people are watching this budget.
Mike, can I just add with the police suggestion? That's a special, the fire department is a special district. It's only within the small section of the hamlet of Mahopac. If we took that so-called savings, the 500,000, and put it into the general would be going up, where it's still at 2.6. So just because we would be saving at the fire department doesn't mean that it's a true
So
saving.
that money just
townwide.
stays in that district?
It just stays in that district. So if we add a third police officer with the discussion that we're having.
Well, I'll be honest with you.
That's gonna go
I
up.
have properties in that district, I'll take it back.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
Okay.
just didn't want everyone to understand, like, it's not like going from, 1-to-1 in the general budget. It's a special district to the general budget.
I understand. And I was quoted in the paper, and I want to just emphasize something, that 98% of the Mayapack volunteer firefighters are absolutely great human beings that had no idea probably what was going on. And they're the lifeblood of our community. So as we look upon the situation, remember, 98% of them are good people. Thank you.
Yep, agreed. Thanks, Mike. Okay, anyone else like to come up? Bob?
Hello, Town Board. Robert Buckley, Mayapack resident. I was walking around town today, and I gotta tell you, you know what the discussion is throughout the entire town. I spoke to some of yous. I know you're well aware of it. There's a couple things I don't think a lot of people are aware of, and myself I wasn't aware of. And I think it's important maybe this town board take the time and explain the difference between a fire district, which we're not. I know you work for a fire district. Maybe you could help explain it. And this is a 501c. What do they call it? A fire protection? What do they actually?
Fire Protection District.
Right. And their books, they're not available to us as residents or you as town board members to review their books during the year because they're considered basically a vendor to the town. Is that correct?
They're required to submit their financials prior to the September budget process, which they did do this year. But the financials that are submitted are only tied to the amount of the contract, the 1.75 million. That's all that's related to. So whatever finances are submitted will only talk about and only explain the use of the 1.75 million. It does not have to detail the amount of funds that fire department may have in accounts, other accounts.
So one of the things that is really disturbing to me as a resident, and I myself, like Mr. Borelli, I think 99% of the fire department members are great people. I know you guys all feel the same way, but it only takes 1 or 2 people to really ruin the entire fire department. I understand the treasurer has resigned, but the real question is, and I'm asking you guys to consider maybe looking at designating the fire department instead of a fire protection unit, a fire district, where then it would be like the library, it would be like the school, where they would have to propose budgets to the residents of the town, and then it would be full transparency, because at the end of the year, when they have surplus money, if they take that money and they roll it over and they take $500,000 a year, which they look like they probably could do that if they have $5 million that's alleged to be missing. If they roll that money over, they could have $10 million in the hole, and then when they submit their financials for you saying they need a raise the following year, you really don't know what's in account A, B, or C, so they can simply just tell you we need a raise when they really have extreme surplus money. So I'm asking you to really look hardly at a fire. You want to say something?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
As soon as you're done.
Okay, now I'll hold off.
No,
Go ahead.
I'm not,
Okay.
I want to answer your question, so
Okay,
when you
I
finish.
really think you should explain to the residents the difference between a fire district and a fire protection, what is it called for us?
Fire Protection District.
Right, and the advantages and disadvantages of having a fire district. I think it's really, really important. And the irony is, I see number 2, and you said, even though they're private, to a certain degree they're private, you guys still have to approve their members. It's almost quasi really governmental, but it's not where we don't get full transparency with their budget and their surplus. But they come before you to get approved to be members of the fire department. So it's very mixed up. And I tried to explain it to a resident today in town, and I was in Bucci's, and it was almost an impossible thing to explain. They couldn't understand the difference between a fire district and what we have here. I think that's really, really a big issue.
Well, let me just, so everyone understands, in the town of Carmel, we have 3 fire protection districts, and one of the fire departments is a fire protection district and a fire district. Mahopac is a fire protection district, Mahopac Falls is a fire protection district. Carmel is both a fire district and a fire protection district. So they have both up in the hamlet of Carmel.
And
So everyone's on-
the main one on Route 6 is,
The main one down here, Mahopac, is a fire protection district.
so the fire district is the one where you have complete transparency, and then obviously they got to reveal their
Correct.
books, they got to go to the residents for a vote every year, and the residents feel like, because right now, to be honest with you, the residents kind of blame you guys. They think it falls under the town board, which I know that it doesn't. But when you see that you're approving here new members, it's like, well, it's a mixture of privatization and vendor. It's a big issue. And I don't know how to clarify it, so I'm asking you guys. I don't know if you want to speak to that.
I was just going to say, I'm getting a lot of information from the newspaper, just like many other people. We're going to try and, at least me, I'm thinking short-term, what to do about this immediately and this upcoming budget, and then what to do long-term. And we have a benefit here that Councilman Schneider works with a fire protection district in Westchester, so. Fire district, I'm sorry, fire district.
But that's the trick. See, it's one word and everybody
Yeah.
gets confused.
Yeah,
How
so-
simple is that?
So he's actually going to educate all of us on, and we know the benefits of it, but if that's,
I did a little
How do-
research.
how do I wanna
It's
say-
about 50% of volunteer departments in New York State are
Yeah.
actually fire districts, and the other 50 are like Mahopac.
yeah, and I think the paper actually did a good job in basically letting the people know that it's not under the auspices of the town board of the town of Carmel. So all we do is, just like like B&J Plumbing, just like any of these other entities that come before us, they're contract vendees. We hire them to perform a service.
And I did hear what you said about you have 3 fire districts, so if you hold the money back, I still think you should find a way to hold $500,000 back, put in receivership, put it somewhere in the side, and make them really be transparent before you start giving away, because it is our tax dollars. I looked at my bill, $524 went to the fire district. I'll leave you with that. Thank you very much.
Did you?
Oh, John.
John wanted to.
Yeah, I'll just give you my personal experiences.
Thank you.
So previous to joining on the town board, I was a treasurer for a fire district in Westchester for 5 years. I'm presently sitting as their assistant treasurer, just to make sure everything is still in line. We went through a pretty large bond process. We went through a build-out. Everything that we did as a fire district, like you said, was transparent to the public. Every one of our monthly meetings was open to the public. 5 years, we had one time where one person came. Not that people show up, but it's open to the public. And it's something that I completely and wholeheartedly agree with you, is transparency is a very important thing. If anything, what has transpired here obviously can't be changed. Whatever comes to fruition through the investigation comes to fruition. That can't be changed. That's the past. But I absolutely agree. Transparency is a very important thing when you're talking about taxpayers' dollars. When you have a fire protection district, it is exactly contracting with the vendor. The vendor comes and says, here's what I need to provide a service. If you don't give that money, you don't get that service. So the other alternatives, and this is what some departments say is a reason why you don't do it. Well, if we go to and become a fire district, we don't have volunteers, you don't have a paid force, and you're talking about millions of dollars. Our fire district had 3 paid individuals. One was a full-time fire district manager who ran everything for our equipment, through our purchasing, through our building, through the build-out. The other 2 were part-timers, myself as a treasurer and the secretary. And that was it that was paid. Everybody else was a volunteer. And as was stated earlier, you have your, in the Marines we used to say, you always got your 10% that's bad in a unit. I don't believe that that's the case, especially at the fire department. I believe we got the 99.9%. Everyone who I believe is there today, right now, is there because in their heart they started off for the right reasons. Whatever may have happened, but we have a great core group of volunteers in our community that we need to acknowledge, and we need to make sure that they understand that they're appreciated, especially through times like this, because I think that appreciation that we show them presently is going to be the reason why it's going to be the rank and file that go along with, yeah, a fire district is the right thing. The question was posed at another meeting, and I had asked that specific question on what's the difference and why would it be more beneficial to be a department instead of a fire district? The only thing that I got, aside from the sound of crickets, was one gentleman in the room who said, because I live out of the district and I won't be able to sit on the board. My eyes, not a justification. If there was another reason, for instance, we can negotiate on a contract. If it's a fire district, what they set forth as a budget, if there's no opposition to it, and it gets approved by their Board of Fire Commissioners at a meeting, that's a bill to the town that the town can't say anything about because it is an independent government agency that has a taxing district. They levied a bill on their taxes that went
But
through.
the public would have to vote on that, right?
No, public does
No?
not have to vote.
Does not
It is
vote.
not like a library district
Not
where the
like a
public
library,
goes and
okay.
votes. It's not like a school district. Just like you don't come and vote on a town budget. In that fire district, you did not have a vote. You were allowed to come in, you were allowed to speak, you were allowed to review minutes. You can make FOIL requests. We on the town board can't make FOIL requests to a fire department. It's not under that guise. So there are a lot of advantages to a fire district. My belief is that that is going to be an avenue that is researched heavily.
And who makes that decision? Is the town board, if you guys want to designate it a fire
If you
district?
guys don't mind, I'll take this one as well. Okay, so 4 years ago, just before I picked up the position
You're
here.
on a roll, go ahead.
Yeah, one of the big things that we talked about at the fire district was when the state came down and said, we're going to give money in regards to consolidation studies. One of the concerns we had at our fire district was looking at the rest that covered the town and being consolidated in with those other fire districts. We were very small. We probably would have been eaten up, and then it would have been their equipment, their services, and we would just respond basically as mutual responders. So one of the concerns in that situation was a loss of control for a fire district. I believe in a situation like this, we already have one fire district that's here. We have 2 fire protection districts that we have private vendors that we contract with. Is it possible that it can work out? I believe that when you get good minds together, anything is possible. I personally, since day one, believed it was the right thing to do, is have a fire district. I've voiced it behind closed doors. I've voiced it to members of the fire department. I've had members of the fire department tell me the same thing. I've had other members who are at annual Fire Association State of New York at the annual conferences saying the same thing, which is advice from attorneys to turn into fire districts for transparency reasons. It's an imperative thing, especially these days. When you see numbers like what's coming out in headlines for the newspapers, fire district should be probably the first thing that rings into people's minds because at least it means I can have a say. If you need $3 million for a building, that one I get to come out and vote on. Our fire district was shot down 2 times since the mid-'80s in regards to fire district renovations. The reason why we weren't able to get those approved from the public at that time, because we didn't have that public outreach. We decided when we were getting ready to do the approach to the public for the bond, so we could do a multi-million-dollar build-out, just so that we could come up to OSHA compliance and NFPA compliance, we hired a public relations firm that came out. They gave presentations. We were at libraries. We were at every event to show the public why it was good and why we needed that building. Nonetheless, again, it took 3 tries to get the public to agree. So you would never see something like this without at least having the opportunity to go to a poll and say, yes, I want it, or no, I don't want it. If a fire district says, I need to bond out $300,000 to get a new engine, you get to go and say, yes, I agree, or no, I don't agree. It is a major benefit to a fire district. So I believe going forward, you'll hear a lot more, and if I can be of any further information, you can speak to me afterwards for sure.
I'll just tell you that I'm happy that you're on the board with your experience. I'm sure it'll benefit the board here. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Bob. Yeah, sure.
Why does the town have 2 different types? Why is Carmel different?
Get it on the mic.
John, John, can you handle it?
Why does the town have 2 different types of fire districts? Why is Carmel different than Mayapack and the Falls?
I believe that the origination starts at the formation of the corporation, how it's formed under the guise of corporate law. The understanding that I have for making that change is majority vote, public referendum. I'll digress back to what I was talking about, where we were concerned about a consolidation of our fire districts. The concern was if you get enough concerned residents to start a petition, you get on a ballot for a public referendum to at least have a vote if you want a fire district in that district. That is part of what New York State came down with a few years back.
I just find it strange that in the same town, we have 2 different types.
Different entities.
I would have thought they'd all be the same.
Just
Yeah.
with respect to the approval of the additions and deletions of the active list, part of the contract with the fire protection, with the volunteer fire department in Mayapack and Mayapack Falls, the town provides their workers' comp. So we have to have an active roster of participating firemen.
Additionally, we
for the
provide
purpose
for
of the
their
comp.
length of service
Length of
awards
service.
program,
And
which is
LoSAP
manual
also.
verification as well.
Correct. That's why.
So unfortunately, there is
It's not an
a
approval, it's a
line where it
recognition.
could be perceived that is a government entity, but in reality, it is not a government entity. If it were a fire district, it would be its own government entity that would have open meetings and would also allow the public to vote on bonds.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in reality, if it was a fire district, we would probably see the same type of outcome like I saw when we were talking about multi-million-dollar bonds. The people who came out, we had, I think, 80 people come out and vote, 77 voted yes, because it was my neighbors, it was our friends, it was everybody who we said, get out and vote today, because today's the day to vote. So in reality, it at least opens everything up to the public, at a minimum.
Yeah, okay. All right, anyone else for new business? Open forum portion of the meeting? Okay. All right, there being none, we do have some announcements to make before we close the meeting and go on to executive session. On a lighter note, the Town of Carmel Top Dog 2015 photo contest. This is for our town clerk, Ann Spofford. Town Clerk Ann Spofford is searching for this year's Town of Carmel's Top Dog. Residents should submit a photo of their beloved, photogenic, and licensed dog to her office for a chance to win great prizes and earn the coveted Top Dog title. All photos will be available for viewing on the Town of Carmel's website, where anyone can make a vote for the favorite top dog. $100 gift card will be awarded to the top dog. $50 gift cards will be awarded for the second place, first deputy dog, and third place, second deputy dog. I should have had you read this, John.
Okay.
Submissions will be accepted from September 21st, 2015 through November 30th, 2015. 1 entry permitted per dog. There will be a limit of 1 vote per dog. Email and IP addresses. Voting begins on December 4th and closes on December 11th, 2015. Winners will be announced on December 16th. Check the town clerk's webpage or call her office for further details. The Town of Carmel Harvest Fest 2015. This is sponsored by the Town of Carmel Recreation and Parks Department. This will be held on October 25th. The time will be from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Place Sycamore Park, 790 Long Pond Road, Mahopac. Carmel Recreation and Parks. Harvest Fest is featuring pony rides, petting zoos, vendors, DJs, trick-or-treat parade, starts at 2 p.m. sharp, and more. Bring the whole family for a fun-filled day and be sure to wear your costumes. Post a picture of you and your jack-o'-lantern on our Facebook page with the chance to win Pumpkin of the Year. Winners will be revealed at the Harvest Fest. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter at Town of Carmel Recreation and Parks Department. For information on being a vendor at the Harvest Fest, $20 per table, volunteering at the event, or for more details, please call 628-7888, 628-7888. That's the Town of Carmel Recreation and Parks Department. Public notice, hydrant flushing, Carmel Water District Number 3, and Carmel District, Water District Number 12, and Carmel District, Water District Number 2. Please be advised that by order of the Town of Carmel Town Engineer, flushing of the hydrants by Severn Trent Services is scheduled for the weeks and dates in your area. 10/12/15, 10/13, 10/14/15, 10/15, and 10/16. That's in Carmel Water District Number 2. And Carmel Water District Number 3, the dates are 10/12, 10/12, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., and it lists the streets that are affected by the flushing. You can go to our website, townofcarmel.org, go on to our website, and this public notice will be listed on that as well. So, my final announcement is the Carmel Town Hall will be closed on Monday, October 12th. That's this coming Monday, October 12th, 2015, in observance of Columbus Day. All offices will reopen Tuesday, October 13th at 8:30 a.m. Those are the announcements that I have for this evening. Board members, do you have any announcements?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I wanted to thank the Italian American Club. They held a wonderful Columbus Day Parade this past weekend, and the Mahopac Chamber of Commerce had a wonderful event, the street fair, down there in
yes.
the hamlet of in Mahopac. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah.
I have one.
Anybody down
Yeah,
here?
I have one. So I was, read in the paper this past week that Senator Schumer was here either last week up in Buchanan, and he was actually talking about an issue which I've talked to a couple of members who are actually here in the audience today with regard to a poor cell phone service that occurs in Putnam County and some of Westchester County. And I believe, if I read the article correctly, that we are one of the worst areas for cell phone service in the Northeast and probably in the country. So, and it's funny that I kind of, especially Mr. Buckley, where he lives, you drop calls coming down that main road all the time, and that's a real shame and tragedy in this day and age. God forbid there's an emergency, you can't get through to anybody. So what I'm going to ask is that that the town send a letter to Senator Schumer asking him, commending him for his work on this, and asking him to keep us informed of it, as there are significant areas here in the town of Carmel and Mahopac that cell phone service is absolutely horrendous. And in 2015, we should not have those problems, at least here in Putnam County. So if we can send that follow-up letter to him, this way at least his office can contact us what progress is being made, and if there's anything that we can do on our end locally, I think we should do that.
Okay, all right. Yep, I agree with you. There are areas of the town, Frank, where you definitely drop cell phone calls. There's no question about it. So, they need to do
You saw
something
that
about
article,
that.
right?
I did see it, yeah, I read that article, yeah. Something needs to be done about that, for sure. Before we close the meeting, I just want to mention this because my name was mentioned in the story, and I am a very proud life member of the Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department. I joined at 16 years old. I was still in high school. I was a junior in high school, and I responded to many, many, many calls for assistance in the Mahopac Fire Protection District. Ambulance calls, fire calls, and I just want to say that they are a very proud and responsive organization to the residents that live in the Mahopac Fire Protection District. Their response times are excellent. They provide an excellent EMS squad, emergency services squad. So if you need an ambulance at your home in the Mahopac Fire Protection District, they are there very quickly. Their response times are excellent. Those men and women get up in the middle of the night when we're all in bed, and they're responding to a call. They're volunteering their time. They're not getting paid. Because one individual, we're talking about one individual right now, decided to do what he did. Please do not lump all the members of the Mahopac Fire Department. Don't paint them with one broad paintbrush. That is wrong to do that. There are a lot of brave men and women down there, a lot of excellent human beings from this community that provide a service, an essential emergency service. They are first responders in this community. They will continue to provide an excellent service to this community. The one bad apple that they had, he will pay. There will be consequences for what he did, but please, it's not everyone. They are a good bunch of men and women, as is all of our other volunteer fire departments in the town of Carmel. They do an excellent job. I'm not sure where we'd be without them. Could you imagine having a paid fire department for all 3 fire departments in the town of Carmel? You couldn't afford it, right? So they are volunteers, and I just wanted to mention that this evening. There's been a lot of press lately in the paper about them, and rightfully so, about the individual and about what's being alleged. Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. It's disgraceful what this individual did, and he will pay for his crimes, and hopefully the Mahopac Fire Department will be able to recoup some of their losses. That's all I want to say about it tonight, but I just wanted to, put that out there because it was mentioned in one of the journal news stories that I'm a life member of the department. I am, and I'm very proud of it, and I always will be a member of the Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department. And thank you, Mahopac firemen, for everything that you do for the residents of Mahopac day in and day out. Thank you. Okay. Yes?
No, that's it.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? No? Okay. All right. We do have executive session this evening. Our town council would like to meet with the town board. It's not on the agenda, but he would like to meet with the board about a litigation matter,
Brennan versus Yankee.
the Brennan versus Yankee matter.
Correct.
And also Putnam County Sheriff Don Smith, and I believe under Sheriff Convery, you're going to be here at 8 o'clock. They are going to be meeting with the liaisons to the Carmel Police Department, which is Councilman Lupinacci and Councilman Lombardi. They will be meeting with the sheriff and undersheriff to discuss, along with the chief of police, along with Chief Kazari. He'll be in attendance, and they'll be discussing police services for the town of Carmel. So the full board will not be meeting with the sheriff. The two liaisons, as I mentioned, will be meeting with the sheriff, undersheriff, and Chief Kazari directly after this meeting. But council will like to meet with the board first to discuss a litigation matter, Brennan versus Yankee. So I do need a motion to go into executive session to discuss that.
Second.
So moved by Councilman Lombardi, seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. All those in favor? Aye. Good night, everyone. Be well. We'll see you here next time.
Thank you.